I am a courageous and compassionate, curious man. It's also quite comprehensive, and I'm here to really expand myself through my business, through my actions that I take day to day, through my relationships, through my own health and wellness. And yeah, to wrap up what's been an awesome nearly 2 years, pretty well, since I first got accepted in February 24. So yeah.
Yeah, let's go back there. Why did you originally decide to apply for Trinity?
3 things stood out to me. It was around my business sides of things was definitely a main one, and being able to get support for that, but applying to also get help for myself and get coached, that unique combination was something that was really hard to find, and I wasn't actively looking, but it wasn't anywhere that I could find. But then also having some personal development in there too, that having those kind of 3 aspects was pretty big for me in terms of being able to really lean in and invest more than just money. It was invest time, energy, all this other stuff that had I tried to find others that I've been mentored by before and trying to piece it all together myself rather than joining a program that's already got other people progress just like I want to get progress, that was sort of a no-brainer for me.
You said other people mentor you. What did you feel were the biggest differences between other people you've gotten support, coached, mentored by, and what happens here with Trinity?
I think it was just that they would focus and specialize on one aspect, which is great, and it has its place. But for where I was at that time in my life, I know I needed more than just training, or I needed more than just business, because there's lots of those people out there, or lots of those companies, and to be able to get support on all of those things at the same time, that's where I was like, okay, I can feel how this all works together, especially in the container that Trinity was looking to provide.
And what's your experience been like? About 14 months later, how do you summarize this whole thing?
Phenomenal. I tried to come into it with no expectations at all, but when I knew I was putting a lot of things on not as much of a priority for this, I also still had to have some healthy expectations to lean in and double down. That, yeah, it's just being able to really, I can't, like, life is not the same. It does not feel like life is the same at all. And to be able to feel like I could just keep going with that, even after, just before the first retreat, I could see the difference. To then go, okay, like there's a snowball coming here that's forming, that every retreat over this span of those 14 months, it's just better and better and better. That speaks into that sort of expansive sides of things that I know has been a theme throughout this, for not just me, but for everyone else I've been around.
I'm going to show you a video that follows on from what you're saying. You might recognize this guy.
Which retreat is it? Because I still haven't seen the footage from Vietnam still, so.
This guy.
Yep.
You should take a look. You can scrub around it.
Mr. Saad, how we go?
Mr. Palmer. We're doing great. Not bad, just trying to stay out of trouble. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm well. Just
What's the biggest differences between that guy you just saw maybe 2 years ago and the one that's standing in front of me here, and how has he grown so much in this space?
It's ironic because most times I've felt I've had like personal growth. That's the first thing that I go to, at least that's how it's different. I would have to really search for it and like almost justify it. But I think nearly everyone in this program has seen where that is, and I know for the sake of this as well, to be able to echo that, my conciseness in how I talk and how I express, both from a physical standpoint in training, but also just from my actions day to day, the congruency in terms of my shifting out of my head into, less thinking, more doing. as the overarching sort of thing that sort of stemmed everything else, whether that be, stuff in my business, stuff for my own somatic work at least, or if it's just me and my, like prioritizing having more difficult conversations, right? So taking action, it's not about thinking anymore, it's doing. So there's just a lot of different avenues that seemed to be the main thing between when I had just moved out of home then from my parents' place to then now I actually have moved back in, but with a different relationship with family and different intentions and all that, that I've just seen the growth of that personally for my own confidence and acceptance and peace for myself in that way of things for where I'm at as well.
So a lot personally, communication, how you're showing up. What about business? What did your business look like, call it a year and a half ago compared to now? What's some of the biggest growth that you've made? And how have we been able to make that?
Yeah, before starting stuff with you, I was averaging, I think, about 1 lead per month, which is like...
How many clients did you have?
I had like 10, I think it was, and then now up to 35. And revenue-wise, technically 5X'd the business from there. And that definitely was a big catalyst for the trickle down of myself financially and some stability there, but also just from the impact and being able to have that from testing out stuff that I've wanted to do for a while, but just having the volume to do it as well. So being able to bring on 2 coaches between then as well, that's still with me today. So a lot of stuff in particular from lead acquisition focused stuff and actioning that week to week, and just being able to really just get traction, like do a lot of, it's just doing stuff and being accountable to that stuff rather than having all these ideas and then kind of just not doing one thing really, really well.
Noticing as you're speaking, that's obviously great, 5X, your future is much bigger than that. I'm noticing how much more concise you are, very succinct. Is this quite unconscious for you now, or is this very intentional still?
No, it's a lot more natural. I could see the growth that I've had before the program too, but this has added to being an environment that I've been able to pick up on stuff along the way that's helped that.
I just had to give you feedback. I think this is because I'm reflecting on the first one.
Yeah.
But now.
And just to add to that, it's a big part of it also is me almost coming back to myself in a way and getting more grounded. And that probably the year before we started, I was probably losing myself in some sort of ways in that regard in particular.
And how have you been able to find yourself in this time, in this experience?
Just paying attention to these little details of things, of having lots of one-on-one calls, lots of group calls, for examples, that I'm forced to show up and challenge myself not only with my skill set, but also with how I articulate to people that I hadn't met for 6 months, really, online, right? So there's a lot of different things there that I'm used to just catching up with people one-on-one and in person and all this sort of stuff to be able to go, okay, how do I make an impact in a group while also being careful of my talk time and that sort of things in that different setting that I hadn't really focused on too much for myself as not necessarily me coaching, but for myself as a receiver, I guess, in a program.
You've done a great job with that. Sure. If you could, going down to skill set, the coaching ability, the amount you understand about the science, the health, everything the functional, what would you rank your skill set and confidence coming in on a scale of 1 to 10 versus what it is now?
Coming in probably would have been like a 7 overall, and probably like a 6, if anything. I think the skill set sides of things hasn't really been my focus, but at the same time, that's part of the Dunning-Kruger effect as well. So you can have a guess where I might end up on that side of things with the number being a minus, but I don't see it as a bad thing. Like I think it's just for me accepting that I do want to still learn that stuff, but with the priorities for where things have been for my needs, that it hasn't necessarily been the blood work as much as other people in the group, or some of the more nuanced stuff relative to where I have the impact right now, how I can apply the stuff now to my clients or anything like that.
So where has the biggest impact that you've been able to make as a result of the learning from experiences in Trinity?
Lead acquisition definitely is one from the business sides of things. Even the awareness around like bringing more practical solutions for the mindset sides of things, at least, definitely that's a big one for me. And having clearer frameworks and just ways to communicate this to people that they don't know what they don't know, and they've never been around anything like this before. And me being able to just be somewhat of an intro. That's not trying to be their psychologist, not trying to diagnose or anything like that, has definitely been the most impactful stuff for the past 14 months.
And what about the challenges? What has been the biggest challenges that you've experienced within Trinity, and how have we helped support you to overcome them?
First one was going all in on the business completely, rather than having some work that I was doing with some state level sport. So being involved just to be able to go, I'm stepping away from that to lean in all in on my business was definitely the most risk that I've had, for just leaning in and trusting that I can have enough to basically put fuel in my car and actually feed myself from the minimum that I was already giving myself in a way. Combining with that, there was a trickle down that from that point in particular also caused a lot of stress in my relationship at the time too. So going through a breakup, that also was part of it as well, through some challenges. So those two things in particular were probably the main pivot points within that were definitely my personal challenges. That I can have challenges with learning stuff from the content or anything like that, but definitely for me it was what stood out from just challenging why am I doing this all and all that sort of stuff, for sure.
And how were you able, and how were we able to maneuver through that so you could eventually overcome it and come out on the other side?
I think it was just a lot of its acceptance for the leaning in sides of things for my business, in regards to stepping away from the other work that I was doing and just embracing that reality that I'm going to have more opportunity, I'm going to have more time, and to go, okay, well, this is the time, so now what? And to really, have that, if I needed it a lot, like that, just reassurance and guidance along the way, not just from you, but from, others that have their own different perspectives too, that I could lean on that. But at the same time, to then go, okay, well, on the relationship sides of things, that, that there's other people in the group that relationship breakups aren't anything new and groundbreaking, that we've all been through that stuff and we know it's not easy. So to just have support one-on-one with people in particular during that time, it was in between retreats as well, most of it. So that's definitely been, it wasn't just, we had a couple conversations for ourselves, at least, on our calls that we addressed stuff, but when, for most of my stuff with you was focused on business, it allowed me to then, have a bit more clarity that I didn't have to think about for myself. So I knew what I needed to do and all the other things without me having to think about it by myself, and I can just focus on feeling some feelings and actually addressing them rather than avoiding them like I might have in the past. And credit to Danielle as well, because the timing for when I started working with her as well was also, a huge shift from when I started really moving through that as well, rather than just kind of sitting in this single mode of life that I was kind of living in after the breakup and all that stuff as well.
Let's go now that you mentioned my counterpart.
Yep.
Danielle, what is having her support meant to you? How has she helped you?
I think out of everyone in Trinity, she's definitely felt the most like a family member to me, and it was definitely most noticeable from Vietnam, but just to be able to have, like, even when I just see her WhatsApp messages, it's not even like in person or on any of the calls. That I know, the fact she even sits on the calls is awesome, because I know that's a lot of sacrifice. But to be able to even just have messages from her and to have something like that support, that's not even that. It might seem intensive at times, but I know the work that goes into that from doing that with my clients, that it means the world. And to have that paired with seeing a psychologist as well through other different veins of things, like, yeah, the family member I never had, really. Like, it's amazing. So yeah.
What's been one of the biggest insights or valuable moments, moving moments that you've had from her support that has changed you?
Just one. I'll sit with that for a second. So we've done a lot of stuff on, like, my family dynamics and the role that I see myself in those family dynamics, to not distance from them and not avoid them just because it could be the easiest thing, but to have a set of beliefs around that and to really lean into, okay, what are my beliefs, without it being just because someone told me them. And there's a lot of, pretty much every session we'd have some sort of reflection prompt that would definitely challenge me as things got deeper and deeper. But to be able to have it just compound week after week, that we discovered insights together, that it wasn't just me getting advice from what she thought I needed to do, that it was this joint process of learning and growing together, that it wasn't about me and my family suddenly anymore. It was about me, just with me, and how I actually embodied the stuff that was going on in those calls outside of that. And to have someone in my corner that would, okay, was I doing some stuff to actually sleep? So I'm looking after myself and giving myself the self-respect and all these other values that I wanted to embody, but with the bandwidth of everything that's in Trinity, it couldn't just be me and you having those conversations, Alex. So I think that extra support to go how that looked is like, well, yeah, it allowed me to lean in on, I was probably talking to Danielle way more than I would have been reaching out to you, but that phase for where I was in, it was way more needed. And I think it's a credit that early on I needed more of that support from you to get things off and running, and that growth, that I don't have to be chirping away asking all these little nuanced, detailed questions. That's a sign that I don't have to rely, but there's probably a bit of reliance there to get out of that whole business wise, that I can then lean in, okay, I'm in this growth phase for myself, to focus on myself and what that actually looks like. That she just had so many practical things that allowed me to kind of not have to stay in the vision of how I would grow. And I mean, we'd say it all the time, but for me to be held, that's kind of the common theme. Yeah.
There's a lot of love there.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I could talk all day, but like that's.
Well, I'll give one last opportunity. Is there anything you would like to share with her or about her and the support that you've gotten from her? Anything else?
I mean, I'm probably going to do my own testimonial with her, so like that's, I'll leave that up to her to decide how that wants to go, and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I know I can easily express that to her and be open about that. So
sounds good.
Yeah, appreciate it then.
Good job. I want to move to the community, the family. What has it been like for you to have this space, this community, this family in Trinity, and What has it shown you and taught you about yourself, and how has it helped you grow?
What was the first part of that question? More
What
so?
is it about the family of Trinity? What has it taught you and shown you?
It's told me I'm getting older, because there's a lot more. Now I'm used to being one of the younger people in these, if it's weekend seminars or all that sort of stuff, that, okay, I'm actually on the older half of things at least. That it doesn't mean it's maturity automatically or anything like that, but there's definitely, as they've gone on, it's made me lean into, how do I lean into more of the play sides of things and just the youthful sides of things in a different way, that even though I work with kids, it's a different way of seeing it, being around other coaches and all that sort of stuff. So whether it be with, stuff on the calls that we would have, or even in the retreats, that having people that I know I can look forward to seeing on a recurring basis, and having that almost built in a way, that accountability there, definitely allowed me to sort of have something to look forward to in a social way, that I didn't have to. It allowed me to lean in more to the other aspects of my life, because I knew there was a lot of social needs that were being taken care of in a way that, once again, I'm being held. It was another way of feeling held by the community in whatever it was. Obviously the retreats is a big one, but to even have in between those that, okay, before this next retreat, I'm looking to do these things, and if I don't do this, if I don't chip away at the daily little habits or whatever by then, I'm not going to show up as the person that I want to be, not just for me, but for them as well. And that, I can have that with a friend or two, but to have that with an actual group regardless of where they live, is definitely been really motivational and inspirational for sure.
So the accountability.
Yeah.
A couple more questions for you. What advice, or what would you say to somebody who's considering applying, joining this experience, but the fear, doubt?
Just ask why. I think, if you're someone that is serious about wanting to have an impact as a coach in, the fitness industry, but I'm not just in the fitness industry. So if you're serious about being a coach and you want to actually grow, not just in your skill set, it's like, okay, well, good luck trying to find anywhere else, really. So if you're even hesitant about joining or not, I've recommended people. I've also helped people that were in the program as well, that I've seen the paths that they go down, and it's not handy. It's not handy that I would recommend. That the fact that I've seen that, it's not just me making stuff up, and that I've lived it. That if there's there's naturally going to be programs that are better at in-person support for getting reps at coaching. Cool, awesome. That's going to be a natural thing, but that can still, there's so many other needs that need to be met if you're a young coach, especially growing and looking to have some support, so you can stay in the industry, because it's usually a matter of, if you can stay in the industry, you're going to be great, but that's the key, is how do you stay in the industry, and what are you doing to not only protect you but also protect the business as well, for those that are interested in having a business. So for those that have those fears and doubts, it's completely natural to, anytime you're investing money into something you may or may not completely know and have control of, that's fair. But what's the cost of not doing it? And I'm not that old, but I'm also not that young either to go, okay, I have time on my side. And if you can lean in for a hard 14 months, if that's 14, 12 months, whatever the time period is for Trinity, we all into school for 13 years, and most of us didn't want to do it. So what's the difference for leaning into this compared to a university and all that other stuff that I've experienced that too. So I can give lots of those different perspectives to people as well.
Okay. I'm going to read out a statement for you. I want you to fill in the gap. I used to believe I was, but now I know I am. I used to believe I was, now I know I am.
I used to believe I was an overthinker. But now I am a comprehensive man.
Branson, is there anything else you would like to share? In your heart or mind?
I'm keen to see where things take me and everyone else from here, really. I could talk about stuff all day, even just being able to share opinions like I have throughout the program on little, operational things or whatever it has been. But I know you're always happy to listen to that as someone else who also values attention to detail. So I don't necessarily feel called that there's anything else that I have to say that has to be heard by everyone else necessarily. But I always know that everyone's inboxes is open for that sort of stuff, and there can be space made for that if it's needed and all that.
Yes, there will be. Branson, lastly, do you mind just grabbing your headphones in front? You can play this alongside reading this. Branson, you are receiving this letter because you have stood out as one of Trinity's best students. Inside this letter contains a gift. Our paths crossed years ago. I presented to an open-minded, curiously passionate young Branson at Woodford's. Who would know it would get us to this moment? You were the first student in Trinity 2.0. You were proof to me that people really wanted to be a part of this experience again. I still remember how pumped you were to get in, and your growth has been deep and wide. You've gone from 6 to 36 clients in 12 months. You've stepped into a new evolution of self and authority by committing to your physical training more than you ever have. I've seen you navigate the challenges of relationships, family, and your identity in this world with resilience, humility, and honesty. There's something truly unique about you. I know you have felt judged and different for being who you are, and I get it. But I truly believe this is your gift. You've been one of Trinity's all-time best performers, with incredible consistency, adherence, and commitment. I'm proud to call you a Trinity coach. You represent me and what we do here with the utmost integrity. I don't hear you complain, you just get it done. You're receiving this letter because you have stood out amongst the uncommon. Branson, I believe you have a greater potential than you currently know is even possible. Only a small selection of Trinity students have ever received this letter. You are one of them. You've been formally invited to join the Trinity Alumni Program, a small group of premier coaches or emerging leaders of the next generation of coaches. This letter is recognition that I have full faith and belief in you to make impact 5 to 10x where you currently are. If you would like to explore this opportunity, scan the QR code to discover what lies ahead. Well done, Branson. With love, Alexander.
Thank you. Oh, brother. That's great. That's joy right there.
How do you think and feel to receive that?
Oh, I'm honoured. I'm absolutely honoured. I can't assume any of the growth is myself, yeah, business-wise, personally, everything like that is something that's going to continue. Just if I just do the same, and that I have to keep elevating, and to be able to have the opportunity to be alumni is definitely a privilege that I wouldn't take lightly for that, for sure. Yeah.
You want to?
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you, Branson.
One last thing.
Of course.
Can you close your eyes now?
Can I close my eyes?
Yep. I've got a present for you. It's not as good as the one you gave me,
Right.
but
I'm going to sit down here. A present for me.
it's not as yeah. You know, put your hands out as well, both hands together.
This is nice. Oh. I'm ready. Can I open?
Yep.
Yo! Hey, this is a great gift. I earned this shit. After this week, after these 4 months, my man, thank you. This is you listening. That's funny. You brought this all the way from
Nope.
Australia to give me a box of Fruit Loops. Thank you, Branson. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of those.
Least I could do.
Yeah. Alumni for Fruit Loops. My man. Big love to you. And give Danielle a hug too. There's love. Fruit Loops, we're all happy.
Thanks, Pete.
No, thank you.
You made me cry. Congrats.
Thank you.